Hello guys, this is Amol Khedkar. I welcome you to this video. This will be a very interesting video as I will be discussing about the country of China, the most dominant country in today's world, and what it will look like by 2030. This is an ongoing series that I'm doing where I'm analyzing each of the G20 countries and what they will look like in 2030. The name of the series is The World in 2030. Okay, so this is an article from the New York Times. Before we get started, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel as I upload this kind of interesting and eye-opening articles and my expert analysis on all those articles in videos that you can watch on your cell phone. Okay, nobody is doing something like this. Okay, this is a pioneering effort that I'm starting on this channel, and this is all free of cost on YouTube for you guys. So if you want to support my activity and if you want more awesome videos from my side of the world, please don't forget to subscribe and let me know that you guys appreciate my putting effort into making these kind of videos. Please don't forget to subscribe. Let's get started. So as you can see here, China's total population from 1950 to 2100, okay, 1 billion was reached in around 2010, okay, and now it is going to peak at around 1.4 billion, and then it is going to start declining. Okay, so China's looming crisis, a shrinking population. Okay, Chinese academics recently discovered a stark warning to the country's leaders. China is facing its most precipitous decline in population in decades, setting the stage for potential demographic, economic, and even political crisis in the near future. Okay, I have highlighted in my previous videos why demography is so important, why population is so important, okay, why the working age population is so important. Okay, look at this. Chinese academics are saying to the country's leaders, they are giving a stark warning, saying that China is facing its most precipitous decline in population in decades, setting the stage for potential demographic, economic, and political crisis. So demographic, definitely that's the case, because people are aging and new people are not getting born and old people are not dying. The exact same kind of thing that I've outlined in Japan, in Australia, in South Korea, and in Russia. Don't forget to check all those videos out. Economic and even political. Okay, so demography has effects on economy as well as politics. So this is how important demography is. This is how important population is. Okay, remember this. For years, China's ruling Communist Party implemented a series of policies intended to slow the growth of the world's most populous nation, including limiting the number of children couples could have to one. Okay, you might have heard about the One China policy. Okay, the Chinese Communist Party (CCP) instituted the One China policy, and that's the reason why China is facing the consequences of it right now. Okay, look at this. CCP implemented a series of policies intended to slow the growth of world's most populous nation. Even today, China is the most populous country in the entire world. It is going to be surpassed by India in the near future, but right now, China is still the most populated country in the entire world. The long-term effects of those policies mean the country will soon enter an era of negative growth or a contraction in the size of the total population. Look at this. When a contraction in the size of total population happens, even negative growth starts coming into the picture. Okay, imagine this. That this is how important demography is. This is how important population is. Okay, annual population growth. Great Chinese famine happened in 1960, and simultaneously there was also a great leap forward. Okay, that was instituted by Mao Zedong in China. Okay, then we have the one child policy is introduced in say 1979. Look at this. Okay, and then we have one child policy becomes constitutional in say 1982. Okay, the two child policy introduced in say 2014. Look at this. Two child policy introduced in 2014. But even then, annual population growth in China, okay, look at this. It was almost 1.5 to 2%. It went to 2% in 1960. Then it started declining. Now after the institute of the two child policy, even then people did not have enough children, and it is now going negative. Look at this. The projection is that by 2030 it will start shrinking. Okay, this is a very important thing. China is the world's factory in the current coronavirus madness. Okay, the entire world is shut down, supply chains are disrupted. Nobody knows what is going to happen, and everybody, each and every small country in the entire world depends on China. Okay, I have also made a video about the Belt and Road Initiative, the One Belt One Road project of China, where I analyze in detail what exactly is that project. Don't forget to check that video out as well. It is on this channel. A report issued this month by the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences is the latest recognition that while China's notorious one-child policy may have achieved its original aim of slowing population growth, it has also created new challenges for the government. Okay, so the one child policy achieved its original aim of slowing population growth, but it also created new challenges for the government. That's what the report said. Okay, and this is from the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences. So this is from very reputed people who are PhD holders, who are postdoc holders in their field. Okay, so I am not saying any of this. This is the the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences saying all of these things. A decline in the birth rate and an increase in life expectancy means there will soon be too few workers able to support an enormous and aging population the academy warned. Okay, look at this, a decline in birth rate. So as you can see here, people are not having enough children. Even after the government told them that it is okay to have children, they are not having enough children. That's the madness of the human mind. Okay. And an increase in life expectancy. So people are not dying, new people are not getting born. Exact same kind of madness. Means there will soon be too few workers able to support an enormous and aging population. So too few workers to support a huge aging population, the academy warned. Okay, the exact same kind of problem that has happened in Japan, in South Korea, in Australia. Okay, but China, to be honest, is in very early stages of that problem. Okay, China has not reached that problem as yet. Okay, as the other rich countries. So that's why I have said in my earlier video that China will get old before it gets rich. I will repeat this one more time. China will get old before it gets rich. So, if you get rich first and then you get old, then that's another story. That's the story of all these countries, other countries, right? Like Australia, South Korea, Japan. But China is reverse. China is going to get old before it gets rich. Because right now China is not a high income country. Okay, there are many people in China that are still struggling. But even then, China will have this kind of huge demographic transformation because of the policies that the government instituted, like the one child policy. Okay, and then many other things that the government just curbed on people having more than one children. Okay, the academy estimated the contraction would begin in 2027, though others believe it would come sooner or has already begun. Okay, to be honest with you, in my personal opinion, the contraction has already begun. Okay, so many people are saying that it will begin in 2027, though others believe it would come sooner or has already begun. So why do I say that it has already begun? Is because when the government tells people that you can have two children or more children, and when the people just do not want to have that, the trend has already started to set in. Okay, so the population decline has already started. Okay, so it's not it's just a matter of time that China will have negative population growth, and this is a very starkly it's a very harsh warning for the rest of the world. Okay, that do not do something like this. Do not institute a one child policy, or do not do these kind of harsh curbs over the population. Okay, because the effects of it are very drastic. As you can see here, the government has recognized the worrisome demographic trend and in 2013 began easing enforcing of the one child policy in certain circumstances. Look at this. So now we are in 2020, right? And the government of China recognized the worrisome demographic trend in 2013 and they started easing the one China policy right there, right at that time. So 7 years back. Okay, so why do I say that the demographic trend is already set in? Is because of this. Okay, so they are doing this since 7 years back, and right now it is already way past that stage. It then raised the limit to two children for all families in 2016 in hopes of encouraging a baby boom. It did not work. Look at this. It raised the limit to two children for all families in 2016 in hopes of encouraging a baby boom. It did not work. People just did not buy that madness. Okay. Fertility rate, births per woman. One child policy was introduced in 1979. Okay. Look at the fertility rate. It was almost 6. I've pointed out in my earlier videos that fertility rate, replacement fertility rate is almost 2.1. Okay, so China was definitely above the replacement rate, and it was around 6 in 1961. It rose and then fell. So in 1980s it was around 3, and then it fell again. And two child policy is introduced into 2014. Okay, but even then, right now the replacement, it is not about the replacement rate. As you can see, it is definitely not about 2. Okay, so this is the problem of China right now. Okay, after a brief uptick that year, the birth rate fell again in 2017 with 17.2 million babies born compared to 17.9 in 2016. Okay, so there was a brief uptick, but again, people were just not comfortable having children after that. Okay, although the number of families having a second child rose, the overall number of births continued to drop. Okay, look at this. In 2018, the total number of births fell to 15.2 million, a drop of nearly 12% nationally from 2017. Some cities and provinces have reported declines in local birth rates as much as 35%. Okay, decline in local birth rates as much as 35%. Look at this. On Friday, the National Bureau of Statistics announced that in 2019, the total number of births fell for a third year to 14.6 million. Total number of births fell for a third year to 14.6 million. Okay, just have a look at this. Okay, first child, second child. This is what is the entire statistic. Okay, number of newborn babies. All right, so as you can see here, the number of newborn babies in 2016 2017 is like this. Okay, so how many people had that kind of how many people went for second child? Okay, it is definitely much less than what they expected it to be. The fertility rate required to maintain population levels is 2.1 children per woman, as I've said, okay, a figure known as the replacement level fertility. The fertility rates in many advanced economies have fallen as the societies have become wealthier and older. I have pointed this one out in all my videos before, okay. The fertility rates in many advanced economies have fallen as the societies have become wealthier and older, right? China's fertility rate has officially fallen to 1.6 children per woman, but even that number is disputed. So, the official rate of China's fertility rate is 1.6 children per woman, but even that number is disputed because China is such a big country that it's very hard for people to even get like a single number for such a big population. Okay, Yi Fuxian, a professor at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, has written that China's government has obscured the actual fertility rate to disguise the disastrous ramifications of the one-child policy. So China's government is very well known for hiding many things. Okay, so just look at the coronavirus madness, right? They did not let the world know earlier that it was such a important thing, but they hid that fact from the rest of the world, and that's what they have been doing. China has been hiding many things from the rest of the world for long time now. The last protest that happened in China was in 1989. You might have heard the name of Tiananmen. Okay, there was a protest called Tiananmen protest. There were people lined up in front of tanks. In Tiananmen Square in China. That was the last protest that happened in China. Almost 30 years back. Okay, after that, every protest is crushed in China. Look at what is happening in Hong Kong right now. Okay, so China just passed a resolution saying that Hong Kong is definitely going to be a part of China no matter what. Okay, so China is definitely not mincing any words. Okay, China is not going to bow down in front of people, their will or anything like that. Okay, China is definitely going to do what it likes, and that's why this is the person from China of Chinese origin, and he's saying that China is very well known for hiding the disastrous ramifications of the one child policy. So the the real fertility rate might even be lower, might be just 0.5. It might be exactly the same as Australia or South Korea. Okay, but we just don't know because Chinese government is not that open, it's not that transparent. Okay, according to his calculation, the fertility rate averaged 1.18 between 2010 and 2018. Okay, so he is saying that the fertility rate is 1.1, but what Chinese government is saying is that it is 1.6. So it is much worse than what the government is saying. Okay, fertility rate by country 2017. Okay, Singapore -1. So look at this: Japan, China, US. Replacement level fertility -2. India is above the replacement level rate, at least for now. Okay, Philippines 3. Okay, so sorry, it's not -1, it's just 1, 2, 3. Okay, then 4, 5, 6. Niger is 7. Okay, look at this. As in other countries, there are myriad reasons for the declining birth rate, including rising prosperity and new opportunities for women. Okay, so why is the birth rate declining? Is because rising prosperity. So people are getting richer, and that's why, as I've said, human mentality is a very paradoxical thing. When people get richer, they have less children. I don't know why that is, but somehow that's how the human mind works for the rest of the world, for the entire world. Okay, and new opportunities for women. Okay, this is also a very important thing. To be very honest with you, I do not mince my words on this channel. Okay, I say exactly what I feel like. I think the modern feminism has really destroyed the current fabric of society in today's world. Okay, and this is the exact repercussion of it. Okay, new opportunities for women. What does that mean? That as I've outlined in my video about South Korea, right? There is a thing called Sampo generation in South Korea, where women just want to shun all the romantic relationship. They want to shun the marriage and the children. Okay, so that's why I think feminism was just an agenda by the Western countries, because they needed more tax paying people. Okay, so when there are two taxpayers in the same house, then they pay more taxes, right? But when there is just one taxpayer, then the government does not get to collect enough taxes. Okay, so that's why this is the feminism is kind of the kind of agenda that has been set up by Western societies for them to just have more and more tax-paying population into the workforce, so that they can get more taxes and they can be happy. Okay, and they can feed their lobbyists and corporate interests, and everybody can just keep mum after that. Okay, so that's my honest opinion about what feminism has done to the entire world. Okay, I do not mince my words on this channel. Let me be very honest with you. Okay, I just say what I want on this channel, and that is one of the reasons why I have started this channel, because I am just fed up of the news channels. I am just fed up of people just censoring the content, and that's why I want to say exactly what is in my mind on this channel. Okay, China's economic expansion has created a society where many young couples now struggle with economic pressures, including rising education and housing costs, making it difficult to have even one child, let alone two. Very true. Okay, China's economic expansion has been like a roller coaster ride. Okay, for the past 25 years, China has had double-digit growth, more than 10% growth. No other country in the entire world has had what China has had. Okay, remember this. So if you ask somebody in 2000, in the year 2000, that China will be the superpower country in the world by 2020, people would laugh at you. Okay, but right now China has done it. Okay, China is definitely the the most feared country in the entire world right now. Has created a society where many young couples now struggle with economic pressures. Now the downside of it is that many young couples now struggle with economic pressures. But so when people were poor, they had children. Okay, they had 6 to 7 children, and they were okay with it. But now they struggle with economic pressures, including rising education and housing costs. Okay, right now in China, making it difficult to have even one child, let alone two. So it is hard to have even one child in China, let alone two. Exact same thing that has happened in many other countries. But the most profound cause of the drop, Professor Yi and others said, was the one child policy. Okay, fewer children were born, and because of cultural preferences for male offspring, fewer of them were girls. So there were many male offsprings, and and very less females. Okay, because again, China is again an Asian society. That's why it's a male dominated society. So people have more preference to male child than female child. Okay, same thing has also happened in India as well. No doubt about that. Chinese women born during the years following the one child policy are now reaching or have already passed their peak fertility age. Okay, so there is a term in China called leftover women. Okay, if you don't know what that means, it means that women who have passed their fertility age but who are not married. As you can see here, women who have already passed their peak fertility age but who are not married at this point. Okay, there are simply not enough of them to sustain the country's population level, despite new efforts by the government to encourage families to have two children. So this is a very nightmare scenario that China is going through right now. Okay, female population 2019 to 2050 projection. Okay, more than 35 million women will be older than 84 years old by 2050. More than 35 million women will be older than 84 years old by 2050. Women population in the 20s to 40s will drop by almost 30%. Women population will drop by almost 30%. Look at this. By 2050. The looming demographic crisis could be the Achilles heel of China's stunning economic transformation over the last 40 years. So Achilles heel is like, it will be the thing that will bring down China. That's what they're saying, okay? The looming demographic crisis could be the Achilles heel of China's stunning economic transformation over the last 40 years. Definitely, this is something that is a very major problem for a country like China, okay? And as I've said, China is an ethnically homogeneous country. It is very, very, very hard for a foreigner to come to China and start working over there. Okay, so it will be very hard for China to reverse this demographic decline. It is not that hard for America. Remember this. Okay, why? Because America has told the rest of the world by its propaganda Hollywood movies that America is the land of the free and home of the brave. Okay, it's nothing like that, but they have convinced the people. Okay, I've made many videos about it where I say that America is definitely not what it was in 1776, but American movies, Hollywood movies have convinced people that America is the land of the free, home of the brave. Okay, and that's why people come to America and they fill up the gap, and that's why the fertility rate does not go as down. Okay, so that's why America is in a much better position than China. China is an ethnically homogeneous country. It's not very easy for immigrants to come into China and start working, because less than 1% people in China even speak English. Okay, imagine this. You cannot use Google in China. You cannot use Facebook in China. You cannot use Amazon in China. Nothing. Okay, Chinese Communist Party blocks everything. So, it's not that easy to live in China as a foreigner. The declining population could create an even greater burden on China's economy and its labor force. Definitely true. Okay, look at this, how important demography is, right? As I pointed out in my earlier videos, it could create an even greater burden on China's economy and its labor force. With fewer workers in the future, the government could struggle to pay for a population that is growing older and living longer. Exact same situation, okay, with fewer workers in the future. So the working age population is declining drastically. The government could struggle to pay for a population that is growing older and living longer. So people are just not dying and they are living above 80, above 90 somehow, okay. A decline in the working age population could also slow consumer spending and thus have an impact on the economy in China and beyond. You understand why it is so important. A declining working age population could also slow consumer spending. Who are the consumers, right? Just understand this. Who are the consumers? The people who are earning money. Okay, so when the working age population declines, then consumer spending also declines because there are not enough people making money and they do not have enough money to spend on those products. Okay, so that's why consumer spending is going to decline and thus have an impact on the economy of China. Not just the economy of China, but beyond. Why beyond? Because China is the factory of the world. Okay, China is the manufacturing hub of the world. China trades with every country in the entire world. If tomorrow China stops, right now, just look at this. Okay, China has stopped right now. The entire world is in a complete standstill. Okay, China runs the world. China is equal to the world, and the world is equal to China. So that's why China's shrinking population has an effect not just on China but also the rest of the world. That's why it says and beyond. Okay, many compare China's demographic crisis to the one that stalled Japan's economic boom in the 1990s. I have discussed this in my video about Japan. Okay, many compare China's demographic crisis to the one that stalled Japan's economic boom in the 1990s. Japan was poised to become like the next superpower in the 1980s. If you read the journals and magazines in 1980s, people were saying that Japan is the next superpower. Japan is going to just surpass America very soon. That never happened because Japan is a stagnant economy. For the past 25-30 years, there is no growth in Japan. Okay, so that's why and why is that? Because of the demography. As I have pointed out in my earlier videos, and I pointed out in my Japan video as well, Japan is facing a huge demographic transformation, and Japan is right now the oldest country in the entire world. Okay, so definitely people are comparing China's demographic crisis to that of Japan. Okay, look at this. Projected more than 64 years old is the gray part. Working age population is 15 to 64 years old, which is the white part. Less than 15 years old is the orange part. Okay, now look at 1960. There were less old people, there were more young people, and there were almost equal working age population. Steadily the number of newborn people has been declining. Look at this. Okay, so by 2000 it is like this. So 2050, 2100 it is just going to get declining. But look at the number of people who are above 64 years old. Okay, it is steadily growing like anything, and the working age population is shrinking. Exact same kind of paradox that you have seen in many other, that I have outlined in many other industrialized countries. Okay, some experts believe the population has already started shrinking. As I have said, I believe definitely that population has already started shrinking. In the recent paper, Dr. Yi and Su Jian, an economist at Peking University, argued that the population contracted in 2018, the first year it has done so since the families of 1961 and 1962 induced by the Great Leap Forward, Mao's industrialization campaign. So Great Leap Forward was Mao's campaign, which was a very different story, but I will make another video to explain all of that. But these two people are already thinking that population has started contracting in China. The researchers said inaccurate census estimates had obscured the actual population and fertility rates. Okay, so inaccurate census estimates. So I mean, CCP is very very renowned for manipulating the numbers. So this is not a very astonishing thing. Okay, it can be seen that 2018 is a historic turning point in China's population. Dr. Yi wrote in an email, China's population has begun to decline and is rapidly aging. Its economic vitality will keep waning. Okay, look at this. I will just read the last statement one more time. China's population has begun to decline and is rapidly aging. It's rapidly aging. Okay, its economic vitality will keep waning. So the economic vitality, the economic importance of China will keep on decreasing. It will keep on declining. Okay, that's what they are saying. So this is China. Okay, so if you ask my honest opinion, China will definitely be an important player on the world stage by 2030. There is no doubt about that. Okay, China has already passed America in terms of purchasing power parity ranking of GDP in 2014 itself. So I'm not talking about nominal GDP. I'm talking about the PPP GDP that takes into account all the inflation and cost of living and all of those things, China is already above America since 2014. Okay, so definitely China will be the most dominant economy by 2030. There is just no doubt about that. Okay, you just cannot dispute that. Okay, but they are having this kind of demographic transformation that is going to shape their society. So people are saying that by 2100, or even by 2050, China will be losing a whole lot of people. Okay, so by 2030 itself, people are saying that China will lose almost 10 million people. Okay, so and then once that decline starts, it will be very very hard for people to for the government to reverse that trend, because when the population decline starts, it's like a nightmare scenario. It's like a downward spiral. Okay, you cannot reverse that, and for a country like China, which is ethnically homogeneous, it is very very hard. What I want to say is that Australia had a white Australia policy. Okay, earlier until 1980s, there was a policy in Australia called as white Australia policy, which was a pretty racist policy that Australia had instituted, which said that only white immigrants will be allowed to come inside Australia. Okay, then after that they eased that policy, and then they said that many brown people can also come into Australia. Why did they do that? Do you know, right? Because at that time, the fertility rate in Australia was definitely falling below the replacement level. Okay, so Australia wanted the people from brown countries to come into Australia only and only because, okay, it was falling below the fertility rate. It was not because it wanted to open up its arms and create a multicultural society. Nothing of that bullshit. Okay, nothing of that BS. Okay, that is just the plain propaganda that is portrayed by these Western countries. Okay, so the only reason why Australia wanted people from brown countries is because its fertility rate was declining. Okay, so that's the exact same thing that is happening in China and in Japan and in Korea, or even Russia. Okay, so all these countries are facing this kind of demographic transformation, and to be very honest with you, if people stop coming to Australia, people stop coming to America, people stop coming to say Canada or many countries in Europe, then definitely even their population is going to start declining. Okay, because all of them are just sustaining their population because of immigration, as I've pointed out in my earlier videos. Okay, only and only immigration is keeping these countries stable at this point. If people stop coming to these countries, their entire countries will just go bankrupt. Okay, remember this. So for China, for 2030, I can tell you that it will be a very dominant economy. There is just no doubt about that. China and India are poised to become, two dominant economies in the entire world by 2030. Okay, America will slip to the third place, and the Western power will definitely decline. China's influence over the entire world will grow. China might also have a new reserve currency for the entire world. Okay, the One Belt One Road initiative that China has instituted will also take its form in a very big fashion. Okay, China will have huge influence in Africa and Latin America. Okay, China will also have huge influence in Europe as well. Then China will have many partners in ASEAN countries, in Northeast Asia. And a fun fact in this is that only four countries are in the position of even competing with China at this point. Okay, remember this. So when the One Belt One Road initiative was announced, only four countries opposed China. Okay, which were the four countries? Okay, first is America, because definitely America is the reigning superpower, so it does not want China to become the superpower. That's why it's definitely going to oppose China. Okay, so there's just no doubt about that. First one was America. Okay, second world was Germany. Second one is Germany. Why Germany? Because Germany is the biggest economy in Europe. Okay, Germany's economy is bigger than France and Britain combined. Okay, Germany is equal to Europe, and Europe is equal to Germany. Okay, so Germany is the big brother of European Union. Okay, so that's why Germany is definitely going to stand its ground in front of China. Okay, every other European country is on the feet of China. Okay, every other European country is definitely just licking China's feet at this point. No kidding. This is the exact truth. Okay, you come to this channel for the truth, so I'm just going to give you the truth. Even Canada is completely subservient to China. Okay, China does not care what Canada thinks about. Okay, then a third country was Japan. Japan and China have had like an age-old rivalry. Thousands and thousands of years, Japan has looted China. China has retaliated, and so Japan is definitely not going to bow down very soon. Okay, and then fourth country is India. India is the only country that even has the guts to stand in front of China and challenge it. Okay, so that's why these four countries are the only ones that are standing their ground in front of China. Okay, In my assessment and based on my understanding of world politics so far, I think that the first country to lose its ground will be Japan, because as I said, Japan is the demographic nightmare. That's why Japan will have to lose its ground and bow in front of China. Okay, second will be Germany, because Germany also is facing a huge demographic transformation, and I will outline it in my video about Germany and what Germany will look like in 2030. So second will be Germany, and it will bow down in front of China. Third will be India. Okay, because even India wants to sustain its place in the world economy. So India definitely cannot be at loggerheads with the world's largest economy, which is China. Okay, so China and India will have to find a way to live together. Okay, so definitely India will bow down in front of China sometime after that. And the fourth country will be America. So America will be the last country to lose its superpower status, because definitely it is the reigning superpower and it will not let go of its crown of superpower status very easily. Okay, so this was my analysis of what China will look like by 2030. Okay, this was a pretty long video, but even country of China is such so big that it takes time for you to analyze the country like China. So if you liked my analysis, please don't forget to like, comment, share this video. Okay, and if you liked my analysis or if you disliked my analysis, please let me know in the comments and we can have a fair and square discussion. Okay, and also subscribe to my channel, because subscriptions really tell me that you guys are liking my content, and it also tells me that I'm putting a whole lot of effort in making this video. So it also gives me inspiration to bring these kind of awesome videos to you guys. Okay, so see you next time. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye bye.